In battles of the late 18th century and the American Revolutionary War, capturing an enemy's flag or other important mementos on the battlefield would carry with it a lot of status. Being known as someone who captured this item and being able to display to your friends and family back home or to your superior officers and fellow soldiers would have been a great point of pride. For the 3 flags in this exhibition that were captured by British officers during the war, it was possibly part of the reason that they remain in such good condition, is that they remain prized trophies of their family members' service during the American War and live on in their families until they're either purchased or donated to institutions that professionally preserve them. The 2 flags of the 2nd New Hampshire Regiment were made in the spring of 1777 in Boston. They're ordered by Captain Samuel Blodgett of the regiment and made by Fanny Johanna Williams of Boston, who is a milliner. They get to the regiment, which is stationed at Fort Ticonderoga in the late spring of 1777, and as the regiment and the rest of the Northern Army retreats from the fort, the flags of the regiment continue directly south, where they're captured by Lieutenant Colonel John Hill of the British Army. They spend the next over a century in England before they're purchased by a donor to the New Hampshire Historical Society and brought back to New Hampshire. What's fascinating about the flags of the 2nd New Hampshire is that it's the flags, plural. There's 2 of them. One is this beautiful blue silk taffeta, and it has a regimental crest on it. Above the regimental motto is a quote, "The glory, not the prey." And it's a shortened form of an Elizabethan-era poem that says, "In victory, the hero seeks the glory, not the prey." It's also got this take on the British Grand Union in the canton, and we're not exactly sure where that design comes from yet, but it's a gorgeous pattern that will remain a mystery until a new piece of information pops up. The other flag from the 2nd New Hampshire is on a buff taffeta, and it has the chain of states, an early representation of the 13 united colonies, often seen on money, occasionally seen on other paper items. Each chain represents one of the 13 colonies, and all together united, an unbreakable chain. Another interesting version of the British Grand Union also appears in the top of this flag. The Dancy flag was originally the flag of a Delaware Militia unit. It's captured by William Dancy, who's an officer in the 33rd Regiment of Foot in the British Army, just before the Battle of Brandywine. As the British Army is moving north, he sends this flag back to his family in England, where it remains until the 1920s, until it is purchased by the Delaware Historical Society. The Delaware Militia flag was originally a dark green or maybe even a forest green color, and you can see some of the original hints on the tassels of this flag. It also has 13 stripes, which would have originally been a red and a white. It's faded somewhat to a pink, but it shows some of the more basic designs you see in colors, especially those used by militia units and some continental units early in the Revolutionary War. The Dancy flag, rare in itself, its tassels have remained with it for 250 years. However, not all of these objects have direct paper trails that go all the way back to their creation. The 2nd New Hampshire Regiment's flags have the actual receipt that was issued to the New Hampshire Committee of Safety for reimbursement for Captain Blodgett ordering these flags. So we actually know the name of the maker of this flag, Fanny Williams, as she's sewing these together in Boston in the spring of 1777. The flags of the 2nd New Hampshire Regiment are the only ones in this exhibition where we can put a name to who made these with 100% accuracy. The Museum of the American Revolution, with funding from generous sponsors, has been able to do conservation work on a number of these flags. The 2 flags of the 2nd New Hampshire Regiment are 2 of those flags that we worked on, getting them reframed in sealed cases behind UV protective glass in a way that they will be protected and displayable for years to come. This exhibition will close on the 10th of August, and this is the first time since the end of the American Revolutionary War that this many flags from the Continental Army and Revolutionary Militia are present in one spot. It's something that you can't say anyone has truly seen since 1783. And it's a great way to come connect with American history, the changing meaning behind the American Revolution, to the soldiers who fought under these flags, to the men and women who created these flags, and to get us ready to start the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution.